What up, fam? Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Our Eagles are 13-1, and it is officially Dallas week. Now we can talk about each other. Let's go.
Oh my God!
I'm embarrassed.
He's flying.
Welcome in. It's almost time. Welcome in, everybody. This is Agree to Disagree, only on HUD Radio. Every Sunday, we're brought to you by our doc, Gotta Make Them Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, location in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com, as well as all your social media platforms. He's there as well. Just give him a search, the best in the business, and he takes most major insurances. No Greg Milakovic, no Brian Wilson, but the show must go on. So just the two of us, Nick DelGozzo, I'm Tom Arnone. Everybody out there, welcome in. Our Eagles are 13-1. We got a lot to talk about. Crumb of the week, we do it at the end of every show on Sunday. We'll get into that. Circle around the NFL. In Eagles-Bears news, we'll give our players of the game. And the main topic at hand is Eagles versus Bears post-game. And it ties right into our poll question. Brought to you by Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, the home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs, desserts. What don't they have for you? And they got a Christmas feast you can purchase too. They had Thanksgiving feast that I saw that you could purchase. I tried the stromboli that Greg brought me. I tried it cold too. I'm a big fan. My first taste of you, I taste you cold, because if you're delicious cold, I know you're gonna really wet the beak when you're hot. When you're hot. So
and just stopped in Wednesday. Got a plethora of stuff.
Is that where the cannolis came from?
Yeah, cannolis from Baggio's. Yeah,
delicious. Just left them out of there. We completely left the cannolis out. But listen, if you mention HUD, you get 10% off your in-store purchase at Baggio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Our poll question for tonight's show is the Eagles' offensive play calling, specifically their lack of use for the running backs, led to their struggles offensively. Do you agree or disagree? Let us know. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, that's where we're live. Everybody get your podcast. We're there as well. Like I already mentioned, hit the like, hit the subscribe, stay with us for a while, and most importantly, comment in tonight, because now we segue from this was a trap game for the fans this week too. Let's be clear. I mean, it's the definition of a fan trap game, because you just got done playing the Giants. You got the Bears, who stink, sandwiched right inside Giants, Cowboys. I mean, that's Trap City. And before I even get into the poll, this is another great win. And people are gonna say, Tom, what are you talking about, Tom? Are you insane? Yeah, maybe I am, because this is what I call just a gritty, tough, sloppy though. But I'm still so good that I got out with a win. That's the definition of it. They weren't good today by any stretch, and we'll get into the poll in 1 second, okay? But Jalen Hurts continues to never let anything rattle this kid. Nothing rattles him. Nothing rattles. He got smoked today a bunch of times. He threw picks early. I know the second one wasn't on him. First one was on him. Second one not. That's going to happen. I mean, the guy's never going to not throw interceptions, especially in that weather that nobody wants to talk about that will tie into the poll. But he just continues to let nothing rattle him, all right? And started playing better football in the second half, obviously. And this was a game, even when the Bears had a little 6-3 lead, I'll speak for myself. I never felt like, oh, my God, we're going to lose today. I just felt like, all right, we're in a dogfight. We're in a little bit of a dogfight today, but we'll come out on top because we're that freaking good. So I don't want to hear it's the Bears. I don't want to hear any of this anymore. If you watch around the league, it is hard to win football games. Circle the league, okay? The Houston Texans are in a dogfight with the Kansas City Chiefs today. All right, Dallas loses to Jacksonville and Jacksonville. Not saying that's a bad loss, but it is when you're up 27-10 or whatever the hell you were. That's a terrible loss. So if you watch the league, you don't talk about who beat who. You say, wow, that team's 13-1. That team continues to find ways to win football games. To the poll question, I completely agree. And you know me by now. Like, I don't really harp on play calling that much. I'm not like oh my God, because it's not the easiest job in the country. Right? Like, play calling's tough. All right. So the fact that it's tough, but you got to know the conditions. and for any quarterback in that weather, maybe outside of Josh Allen, who can throw in a tornado, every other quarterback in the world playing in Chicago at the end of December, all right, you got to run the football. I mean, it felt like it was 6 degrees out there today. The wind was 20 miles an hour, right? You saw their kicker say, I'm not going to attempt one for 48, because that's how crazy the wind was today too. And you did your quarterback no favors today. None at all. And Nick deserves a lot of praise, and Steichen deserves a lot of praise for how good they've been, because this is the number 1 ranked offensive football. You know, I don't know if they still are. It might be Kansas City now. But regardless, 1-2, they're explosive, right? Going into, so I don't want to like crush those guys too much, but this game, I'm sitting there saying, are you gonna throw it again? Are you gonna do another QB design run? You got a running back who's run really well this year, and Miles Sanders. Right? The Bears didn't stop the run in this football game. You ran the ball 3 times in the first half. That's going to lead to anybody struggling. And when you see that, hey, you know, my quarterback threw 2 picks in the first half, maybe I then go try to get the running game going. And they just didn't. Jalen made some big-time throws today in the weather. DeVonta Smith and A.J. Brown were money today as well. And they find a way to score 25 points again, win a football game again, okay, and continue to redeem themselves too, because like they were failing in the first half. It's easy to fall into that and not get yourself out of it, right? And it's another game like the Colts game where they sort of got themselves out in the fourth quarter. They were able to turn it on and do enough to win a football game. That's the definition of a trap game inside 2 divisional games. Dallas week feels like it's 6 degrees out. So I agree. The play calling wasn't. Is this fucking guy kidding me? I mean, you got to go around there. You got to go around in the middle of a rant. You're going around.
Big T, what's up, buddy? Chill out. I'll come right down there and put you in a chokehold. All right, knock it off, would you?
So I agree. Long story short.
Classic.
Please go ahead.
Classic. Listen, love. I like what you said. Absolutely liked what you said. I'll disagree, not because it's just 2 of us, just because I think sometimes, you know, as fans and guys watching, like I said, what you said is 100% spot on. But I also look at the league and I look at the sport where, you know, you can't always be 100% in everything you do. You know what I mean? It's not that, you know, sometimes you give the opponent credit for stopping you, and that wasn't the case today. The Bears, you know, they didn't even give the Bears a chance to stop the run. You know what I mean? With
a trap game for coaches
with the running backs. Well, when you're 12-1, you have leeway to do some things. And I'm not saying that they were just using carte blanche and stuff like that, but you know, they just listen. Sometimes it's hard probably as a coach. It's easy for us to sit here and have all the answers, and a lot of times we're right. Right. But it's also probably tough as a coach when you have a playmaker at quarterback, you got 2 playmaking wide receivers to stick it in the belly, you know, 25 times. You know what I mean? And I get it. You know, and like you said, sometimes it calls for that. If you're getting, you know, if you're ripping off chunk plays and you know, Miles Sanders ripping off chunk plays, and then absolutely you stick with it and you get the heck out of Dodge. You know what I mean? But you know, the fact that they won the game and they were still able to, you know, maybe the play calling was suspect, especially in the first half. You know, they just, you know, I think the biggest play call, even if, you know, like you said, even if you didn't like what was going on in the first half, you know, I told you guys earlier, I thought the 3rd down from the 3-yard line, that design bubble screen, you know, which is probably a giveaway for most teams, and it very well might have been a giveaway by Sirianni and company, where let's get our new punter a little bit of space here and let our defense play. And if DeVonta makes a play, makes somebody miss, if we pick up a block and DeVonta makes somebody miss, we can pick up a first down. That's exactly what happened. And then they went down they went down from the 3-yard line, and then the game was over. You know what I mean? They scored and the rest was history. You know what I mean? So I just think sometimes it's, you know, it's tough. It's tough to get away from who you are, and they are a running football team, don't get me wrong, and especially with those road graders up front, you know what I mean? But when you have a playmaker at quarterback, it's probably, you know, and 2 dynamic wide receivers, it's very tempting to throw the ball 50 times. and like you said, he ran the ball 17 times as well. So it wasn't like, it wasn't like they got away from it totally. They just, the question was, could they put it in the belly of the running backs more? And I think everybody would agree to that. But I just kind of disagree that it probably, that it led to the struggles. I just think conditions weren't great, and like you alluded to, this was the definition of a trap game. You know what I mean? Like, it's Cowboy week. Cowboys were on deck. You're on the road. You kind of expected that, and they were still, they still left some meat on the bone. But they were good enough to get it down. And Fields made some plays, to his credit. He's a tremendous athlete. So he kept him in it. But the Eagles, obviously the Eagles defense would boat up when they had to, 6 sacks, absolutely, a ton of pressure up front. And Hassan Reddick was just awesome. Absolutely freaking awesome today.
He's so good. He's so explosive. I mean, this is why, he's a guy who's had, 10 plus sacks 3 straight years on 3 different teams, right? So, I mean, that's impressive too, because everybody talks about schemes. Well, that's 3 different schemes. But that's why we talked about it all year. Hey, get this guy after the quarterback. He doesn't need to be dropping back in coverage, doesn't need to be doing those other things. And I agree with you. I agree with a lot of what you're saying too, because, I said earlier in the video, I'm like a Madden guy. Like in Madden, I'll throw the ball 75 times. And you'd be like, are you ever going to run one? Nah, I'm good. I like to air it out. Like I love airing it out. So I'm an air out fan. I'm not the old school football guy that wants to run the ball 35 times and be like, oh, we just beat you up. I just look at the conditions today and I say, I arguably have a top 3 to 5, wherever you want to rank them, offensive line in football. Let me put in the belly a couple more times in the first half, especially after, like, it's one thing if the interceptions didn't come early, right? We had early picks, right? And especially the earliest one, the first one, right? So we had early turnovers, right? And at that point, that's when I take a step back and say, okay, maybe I put it in the belly a little bit more. But you're right, because it is tempting. You have 2 guys on your outside that are lethal, and in different ways too. But both similar, even though their stature is different, they're both similar. They'll both go up and get footballs. They're both going to make people miss. Right? They're very similar, even though one's gigantic and one's a little guy. So I love it. I mean, I'm so excited because for years, and for years, we begged for playmakers. Before Jalen, I mean, we're going back to the early 2000s begging for playmakers here. And we finally got a T.O., and then we got a Macklin and a Deshaun. And Macklin and Deshaun were great. But with all due respect to both of them, who were sensational, these 2 are different. And these 2 might be a better combo than any combo we've ever had here. Just because they complement each other, and they can run every route in the book.
Yeah,
there's not a route that they can't do.
Yeah, you got a grown man. You got a grown man that runs well and is an absolute beast. He's a problem. And then you got a Heisman Trophy winner that can run every route in the tree, which is well documented. Which you were screaming for on draft night. And people like myself just kind of worried about his size a little bit. Just make sure, hey, get down. Get down. That's all, buddy. You got to get your hands on him first. It reminds me of Youngblood, great movie, and somebody hit the hot dog, you got to catch him first, so you can't always get your hands on DeVonta, so, as an Eagle guy, you just want to say, hey, get down a little bit, let's keep him out of harm's way. All right. But, the talent was there. He's just, he's special. So the 2 complement each other. It's pretty scary.
Yeah. And then you think about, you get out of a football game today too, where, you didn't win the turnover battle. Right, which has been an MO for this team too. So I mean, you couldn't have played sloppier per se of taking care of the football than today, and you still win a game, and in the second half you win a game where you felt like even though you weren't in control, you were in control in a weird way. So I mean, that just goes to show you how much talent's on this football team and how they can pick themselves up. And I thought another guy, we'll get in the players of the game, but I thought a guy who played really well today that not a lot of people are going to bring up. I thought Kayvon Wallace had his best game as a pro. His best game as a pro. I thought he was in the mix. He was getting his beak wet. He was tackling well. He was tackling well in open space. So I thought, he led the team in tackles today. Eight solo. Yeah. So, and it's not like eight solo where, hey, you're getting beat. You know what I mean? In the passing game, and you get 8 tackles. Now, he was up in the box. He was physical. And I like to see that because that's your third safety. I mean, think about that. That just shows you the job Howie Roseman's done, too. And again, it's the Bears. I understand. But the job he's done where you're down to your third guy. Like, you don't even want to play your third guy. Right? And now you're down your third guy, and he steps up to that at a point where you know he played. Right? A lot of times you go down to your third guy, you win a game like this, you don't even realize they played. But this guy, early on, I'm like, well, Kayvon showed up. There's Dawkins everybody was telling me about, right? You know, there's some of the we never thought it was going to be Brian Dawkins, but there's some of what we thought we were drafted in the 3rd or 4th round. We drafted him out of Clemson. So that's a positive.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And sometimes, you know, humility is a great dish served to some of these young guys. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying, you know, like you said, nobody's comparing him to Dawkins. I mean, I know they were, but I mean, he's, you know, he's one step away from, you know, getting cut. You know what I mean? Really, if you look at it like that, when you're the third, you know, when you're the third string guy, you know, you got one foot out the door. So, you know, with some injuries, you know, that's, you know, he's seeing himself on the field. So sometimes the light bulb goes off for some of these young guys, and they just got to realize, hey man, like, you listen, you know, I got to go make plays. I got to put my helmet on the football if I want to stay in this league, and if I want to stay on this team, you know. So sometimes you see the fire and you see what guys are made of, and you see their hunger, and so that was good to see out of him today. So, you know, that's a good name to throw out there by you.
And wipe, do me a favor with this. I know you will, but the people, like, do me a favor. I don't want to say get rid of the interceptions because they happen, but get rid of the second one for a second, right? Let's just chalk the second one up. Jalen threw one interception that we can definitely put on him. Not saying we can't put the second one on, but when you rewatch it, it looked like Quest just didn't have. It was like a Jalen Reagor route, right? This didn't have really an urgency to get to where he's supposed to get to, because if you watch it for the people at home, we always talk about timing and anticipation. Well, when you become a guy that takes a step Jalen has, you're starting to throw the ball before guys are out of breaks. You're not waiting for guys to come open. You're throwing them open. We talked about this last year when he was struggling about some of the things he wasn't doing at the quarterback position, right? That he wasn't throwing guys open. He was throwing the guys that were already open. Well, that's a ball that's a timing ball. And he threw that expecting you to be somewhere you weren't there. But through all that, in these conditions, this is the positive I take out of today. The real positive when it comes to Jalen Hurts. That is not easy to throw the football there. It is not easy in Chicago. It's called the Windy City for a reason, all right? And it's a different type of cold, right? There's cold in Philly. There's cold in New York. But, like, when you go up to, like, Buffalo or you go to Chicago, like, that's a different type of cold, right? Even Green Bay, to me, isn't Chicago cold, right? It's cold, but it ain't Chicago cold. That's a different cold. So when you throw the ball, he threw 37 times today. He threw for 315 yards, 8.5 yards per attempt, right? And obviously his QBR and his passer rating aren't going to be good because of the interceptions, right? But I thought he threw the ball pretty well in these conditions. I really do. As much as I agree to the poll that I thought they could have ran the ball earlier on a little bit more, you know, Miles Sanders should never have 3 carries and a half. But, I mean, he can if somebody else is carrying the football, but he should never have 3.5. But I thought he threw the ball really well for the conditions, and I think that answers a lot of questions to the haters if he can throw the ball in elements, right? Because I think it was a question for everybody when he was drafted. How's he going to throw the ball in Philly? It's freezing here. You know what I mean? It's cold here too, late in the year. So I think that's a real positive we can take from this, is that you're probably not going to get colder than feeling like it's 6 degrees out here. And you might when January comes. But that's a really positive thing to look at today and say, we're just we've been doing it all year. Right? Another box. Sharpie that one out. So he's just doing it every week. It's something else where you can take from his play and say, hey, this is a positive. Even though there were some negatives early on, here's another positive.
Yeah, like I said, it's always about how you finish, you know. So obviously, in that first half, it looked like, it had all the makings for, all right, well, here we are 14 weeks in, and here's his first bad game. You know what I mean? Hey, the kid's human. So people don't want to hear that because, you get used to a high level of play and you don't want to accept anything else. I get it. You know what I mean? Like, we're all fans. You don't want to see your team go on the road and lose to a 3-win Bears team. I get it. You know what I mean? But so it had all those makings of, for him, like the rest of the league, when you see quarterbacks in the league go in the tank, you know what I mean? After a start like that. And this guy finishes with 380 or so total yards, 3 touchdowns. He's right back where he wants to be. I mean, picks don't matter. They don't mean anything. They got the win. So the picks didn't cost him anything. So picks don't mean shit. He's still the front runner. You're talking about individual stuff, which I know it doesn't it doesn't matter to you. It doesn't matter to me. It matters to some people, but they still give the awards out. You know what I mean? So they still give the awards out. So we have to talk about it. So he's still the front runner. He's still the front runner on a 13-1 team. He's the front runner.
Yeah, as much as we don't care about it, I mean, it is still a thing. Like it's still a conversation. It's still an award. It's still in a guy's trophy case at the end of his career. So but then, like you said, you got to factor in the three total touchdowns, 2 rushing the football. You can't because people pick and choose, right? And we watch it online, right? People picking and choosing. You can't pick and choose. All right, touchdowns are touchdowns. So it's total touchdowns, right? So if a guy rushes for 12 touchdowns like he has this year, they count the same. It's getting in the end zone. And what happens is in the defense, because he can throw the football, it makes your life even harder as a coordinator down there. It is hard. Let me explain this to the people who are first-time watchers of football. It is hard to score in the red zone. It is hard. That's why they call it the money zone, all right? Because that's what you get paid for. You don't get paid for inside the 20s, babe. You get paid for results in the red zone. Touchdowns in the red zone are the difference of you leaving with victories or leaving with losses. And ask any football guy that, and I'm not trying to be a know-it-all because it's common sense. So you can't just say, the rushing don't matter to me. It's the passing. Dude, he does it all down there, right? He does a little bit of everything down there. And I think that's why they've even been as successful as they have, because it's not just with his legs. It's just not just with his legs. We can't act like he don't throw touchdowns down there, right? So are you coming away with 7? Because that shouldn't matter to people. Shouldn't matter how you're getting them. No, go back and watch Early Donovan. It was the same shit. And we booed, not me, but people booed the pick of Donovan, right? And Donovan was a playmaker. We never until he got hurt and fractured his foot, we never sat here as a fan base and say that rushing touchdown don't count when you juked out when you juked the Redskin out, because they were the Redskins back then. When you juked them out and scored a TD, that didn't count. It counts. If you're a weapon, you're a weapon. But if you can't throw the ball and you're a one-trick pony, it's a different conversation. He's not a one-trick pony anymore.
No, I agree with you. And to your point, the red zone, which everybody watched, the greatest comeback in NFL history yesterday, right? That happens because not only are you horseshit, all right. So let's call it what it is. Not only are you horseshit, but to your point, field goals. All right, McLaughlin 5 field goals, 3 in the red zone. It only takes 1 touchdown there, 1 touchdown instead of a field goal, and there's no comeback. All right, it looks cute. Came up to him, came up to your neck. Plenty of horses. Me and Pops Dell, plenty of horses. People come up to our necks and they don't get by us, or we don't get there. Right. So if they score, they score in there, and they score. Colts score a touchdown instead of field goals yesterday. Just one little itty bitty one. We're not talking about the greatest comeback. All right. So that's how important finishing in the red zone and finishing drives are. And you see, you see a comeback like yesterday. It's possible because of stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you said it for a couple of weeks, and we all been seeing it. But I mean, this guy is dropping balls in buckets. I mean, the drop balls and buckets in Chicago today is a different drop in the bucket. You ain't playing in Jacksonville. You know what I mean? You ain't playing in a dome today. And I don't want to overhype the weather, but let's be real, man. If anybody's gripped the football, it's a little different of a grip, a little different of a feel when that thing's a brick. A little different, a little harder to throw, a little harder with your accuracy, a little harder with all those types of things. And this guy had a couple of throws today where you're like, whoa. And you know what the problem is, Sweeps? Is the haters because now they're officially haters. I don't like that word, but there's the real haters out there that they must not see it. They must not watch the development, or they just want to troll. Like at this point, when you're 13-1 and that guy's played the way he has, I don't know how anybody can have a bad thing to say about the kid. I don't understand. I mean, Brock Purdy is literally getting hand jobs after 2 starts. He's a 7th-round pick. I mean, all right, it's a cute story. It's cool, whatever. This guy's been consistent. And when you see a guy grow this much from year 2 to year 3, how are you not like so giddy about it? Especially if you're a fan. If you're the national media, kiss my ass. But if you're a fan, how are you not so jacked up over this? Like, that's all you ask for. You know, as us as coaches, we ask for, dude, climb the mountain and just get better, right? It can be baby steps, but just continue to be going up the mountain. Don't fall back down. And if you do, get up and keep climbing, right? At the end of the day, this guy, it's all he's done from year 1 to year 3 has just keep climbing up. Did we expect this kind of jump this year? No, but it happened. It happened, and we're here. And listen, the only guy that I sort of agree with, I think it was like Bart Scott, national media-wise. I don't agree much with Bart Scott. And even Booger said something that, hey, we can really judge it after the playoffs, right? And I agree to a point. Yeah, you got to win a playoff game for sure, especially if you're the 1 seed, right? Yeah. Can't be losing one.
Yeah.
But we also can't erase what he did either. We can have question marks about going into next year, etc., about different things, or paying a guy $500 million. Sure, if you don't win a playoff game. But we can't throw away what's right now a 13-1 football team.
No,
we can't say that doesn't count. Like, it's not fair, too.
No, you can't double stamp a triple stamp. You know what I mean? That's just agreed. You know, like I said, the ultimate prize is the ultimate prize. That's what everybody plays for. But yeah, you're not erasing history. You know what I mean? Like, you know, like or that kind of, you know, or the year he had. Absolutely. So
Bill has a question, and we'll get some comments here, and then we'll give our players of the game. Didn't you get the feeling that Hurts wanted a game plan that involved him throwing the ball? And I asked because of Parsons' comments this week, because they should have ran it a lot more today. I don't know. I mean,
I think that would be this week, wouldn't you? I mean, like,
when they got one spinning on his hands.
Yeah, the guy that was actually talking shit. But I hear you. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry.
No. You're spot on. I mean, I would think it would be more next week. Bill, I don't know. I feel like Nick would care more about that than Jalen would, if that makes sense. Like, I think Nick would wear that more than Jalen would. Jalen's been knocked down and has had a million things said about him, probably going back to his high school days. Okay, and probably not as much in high school because he just run all around me. Let's go, G-Man, love it. Hate the Giants, but we got money on it.
Yeah, strip sack.
Let's go, Thibodeau.
Tibby Tibbs.
And so he's always been knocked down, right? And he's always been like, and a lot of it has to do with like when you're a 1st-round pick or a top 5 pick, you sort of get the benefit of the doubt, right? When you're a later round pick, you don't get as much of a benefit of the doubt. So you're going to have more people out there questioning you, right? More people out there wondering if you're the guy, right? And the organization really hasn't necessarily like said he was the guy ever either, because remember, it's the same organization where Howie Roseman had binoculars watching Kenny 1 glove, right? Or Kenny 2 gloves, right? Which is your job to do. But the organization never fully like said we're all in reality. So I mean, I get it all. Like, I get it all, but I don't think he goes around really worrying about what people say about him at this point of his career. I just don't. And if he does, he uses his motivation more than, okay, well, they're saying that I don't help win games. It's the team around me, so I'm going to go throw the ball a bunch. No, because I think Jalen just truly cares about wins more than anything else. And, I mean, wouldn't rushing for 3 touchdowns shut people up too? Did your team help you there? I don't know. I mean, I think Micah, I love Micah. Okay, I do, even though he's a Cowboy. He's an idiot. And just be careful that you can cash that check. That's all I'm saying. Make sure you can cash that check, because you don't got to worry about Jalen. You're the one who's got to go against Mulata and Lane all day on Christmas Eve. That's going to be a tough Christmas. A lot of Epsom salts in that bath when that's done, Micah. So,
yeah, like I said, that's also
real quick. Isn't your system? Aren't you in a system, Micah? Are you in a system that caters to you? You don't play one spot. They move you all around. So maybe it's Dan Quinn who should get defensive player of the year.
And I hear you, Bill. I think it's just like you said. It's one of those when these pro athletes do these podcasts. You know, we know most of it is for likes and to get things retweeted and to create some buzz. All right, we know that. It's just what it is. Tyreek Hill did the same thing, and to all the success you had, in Kansas City, you had the balls to say that Tua was more accurate. Of course, that's your current guy. Please knock it off, right? I mean, Patty Mahomes can throw 50 feet in an absolute freaking hole this big. Come on, knock it off. Right, so we know what that's all about. So the fact that Von Miller was laughing, you're out for the year. Relax, Von. You know what I mean? Like, sorry you're injured, but I don't know why you were cackling so much. Maybe he was just surprised, like, holy shit, can't believe this guy went there. They're 12-1. This guy's MVP front runner, and he's trying to take a shit on him. Maybe that's why Von was laughing. I don't know. It seemed a little cahootsy to me. Like, hey, I'm gonna ask you this, and then let's laugh about it like teenage girls, which is fine. Which is fine.
Well, they're laughing at us. They're laughing at us because now I didn't even know Von Miller had a podcast. Now I do, right? So it's all strategic, in my opinion. We're gonna say something that is going to get people listening, people paying attention, right? To your point, it's just the facts.
Yeah, and you should once again. Then it always, then the football gods. We talk about the baseball gods, but the football gods always get you. You know what I mean? Maybe you should have worried about today's game. So now next week means nothing. This week, besides the rivalry and besides the fact that the Eagles' offensive linemen can't wait to get their hands on Micah. Other than that, there's the luster is gone. I mean, you guys lost to Jacksonville. You 27-10, and you had the ball back. Forget about that. You had the ball back with 1:13, and the Dak decided to throw a bomb. So. We always tell you, Mike, there's a little tip from your Uncle Sweeps. And you're probably like, who the fuck's this guy? I don't care. It's fine. Little tip from your Uncle Sweeps, Mike. Worry about your own house. You understand? Don't look out the window, right? You don't know what's going on over there. You don't know what kind of problems what's going on over there. You don't know what's going on. That lawn might not look nice. Maybe that guy's struggling. Maybe that guy's depressed across the street. He can't cut his grass. I don't know. Stop. Worry about your house, all right? Worry about your house, Micah.
I guess this is a Cowboys fan, that stereo, and I'll tell you real quick to buy a clue because it doesn't matter. I mean, you can beat us next week. That's cute. What does that do? What does that do? Besides, you can brag for a few weeks.
Yep, Eagles beat the Saints and they clinched the 1 seed.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I even posed the question earlier to the boys. You know what I mean? And like I said, I know it's not going to happen, but. This could be the ultimate middle finger if you wanted to. Don, love it, buddy. Love that statement out of you. This could be the ultimate middle finger if you wanted to be, if the Eagles wanted to. You sit your starters this week because maybe you see the Cowboys in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, you guys don't need to see anything. I don't need to show you anything right now. You know what I mean? Instead of sitting week 17, maybe we get a little puff this week. And then we take care of the Saints, and we're the 1 seed. So I know it's not going to happen. I'm just saying. So maybe they play a half. Who the hell knows? Maybe when we keep everything vanilla next week, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing we can't keep
rubbing off me. Look at you hanging out with you all this time. I just said we.
Yeah.
Maybe we keep it vanilla next week. Jeez, look at me.
I think you might have said it a couple times.
No, 3 doors down. 3 doors down. I'm in. Sucked in. Guy set up an Eagles bat signal, and he set up an Eagles bat signal and it's drawing me to it.
And Bill, like that's not like I'm not going to crown myself over it. All I'll say is when you start talking about another team, like Sweeps was saying, you start talking about another team, you start worrying about somebody else or talking about somebody else. Karma's going to find you. Karma's going to find you. And listen, nobody's higher on Micah Parsons, at least on draft night, than me. Like DeVonta Smith, I said is going to wear a gold jacket. I had Micah better than him. So I think the guy's a pimp. But shut your mouth, dude. What are you doing? What are you doing? And if you know Jalen, Micah, you think that's smart? And he even admitted to that. On the podcast, he said, he's gonna make me pay for this. He said it. So what are you even bringing it up for? You admitted that this guy's going to make me pay for this, and you still said it. And he didn't say anything crazy, man, either. But that's going to be all over the news, right? That's what everybody's going to talk about because you brought up Jalen and is it him or is it what's surrounding him? It's not even egregious. It's just a question, right? But if you're a football guy like you claim you are, you're gonna understand that obviously it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and everybody's in a system. So I've always thought that was a crock of shit. Like everybody's in some kind of system of some kind. Oh, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's like I think they have a combo of things they can do. I think they do like to strike fast. I think they're starting to turn themselves into that a little bit more than maybe they were early on in the year. But I think they were early on in the year too. So, I mean, they have different ways they can beat you. They can pound it down your throat, which we didn't see today. But they can throw it all over the field on you too because they have the weapons. And this is without a guy like Dallas Goedert too. So, I mean, you're doing this without the guy at one point that was your second leading receiver, essentially, right? At least in terms of targets. So you've done a good job offensive coordinator-wise after that first week in Indy where you look stale and stagnant. After that week, I think you've made really good adjustments. Even though I had some problems today, I thought they made pretty good adjustments, with the loss of Dallas Goedert, being able to find ways to get the ball to other guys.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, listen, he just continues to make throws. So it just he continues to make big throw after big throw. So I don't know why when the credit will come. I just don't know why. It just wait for it to if it doesn't happen, then I don't know if those people are waiting for it. I guess they just want to stand on their soapbox and be right. You know what I mean? Like, the one guy, went as far as to say, well, listen, and Kirk Cousins can spin it. I don't ever take that away from him. We know Kirk Cousins' shortcomings, he's a choke artist, all that stuff. So he can spin it, right? But one guy went as far as saying this, yesterday, like, well, that's why, Jalen couldn't do what Cousins did yesterday. He couldn't throw his team back from 33-0. I disagree. It depends on your opponent. You know what I mean? If they're playing the Colts in that same situation and you're getting stops, absolutely. Eagles got the weapons and yeah, exactly. Inside, Eagles have the weapons. He showed that he can throw the ball. Come on, dude. I don't who knows, until you're in that situation, if you can get all the way back, you know what I mean? Things have to go your way.
Well, I think
but it starts with the opponent. You know what I mean? Like if the Vikings were playing, a top 5 defense yesterday, they lose 40-7. Oh, by the way, you know what I mean? So, right. Good night with that theory.
Well, we've questioned, we've wondered about arm strength. We've wondered about different things over the course from him getting drafted. I think his delivery's quicker. It's not as long as it probably was when he first came on the scene, right? I think he's gotten faster in his delivery too. And I think he's gotten a little quicker this year as well. So, I mean, if you're watching him and you're not seeing like major growth, you just don't want to. You just don't want to at this point. But this Saturday is going to be electric. Even though it's in Dallas, Christmas Eve. I already told the wife, family's coming over. Said, don't expect to see me from 4 to 8. We ain't playing like, we're not playing the Bears. We're playing the Bears on Christmas Eve. Whatever. We'll have that one right on the phone. Not even worried about it.
Santa Claus, don't come by till like midnight. You know what I mean?
Good need you to hold off. Good need you to hold off getting here.
Circle the house.
The weather in Chicago, Don? Is that what you're asking? How bad was the weather in Chicago?
It was windy.
Yeah.
Enough that Santos, absolutely skirted out. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know how you give that guy the option. I get it. You know what I mean? As a head coach, you want to make decisions. You want to get all for information. I certainly don't go to my kicker and say, can you make this? And if he straight face says no, then he's cut right there. Then I asked the punter to try it. You know what I mean? So 47-yarder. I don't know. We saw Elliott miss a chip shot. So of course the conditions were horseshit, but you don't know if you try. You don't know unless you try. Excuse me. So the fact that Santos was absolutely squatting the pee behind a tree is just par for the course for the Bears.
We want no parts of that.
You're right, Don. Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. And like I said, there's no reason to not stand up and say, hey, listen, maybe I was wrong. And that's all. And that's kind of what we've done. You know what I mean? And, but we always said all along, we just didn't know, if you could throw the ball in this league, you know what I mean? At a high level. And they showed when they got them weapons. They put some weapons around them, and obviously a good game plan and all that good stuff. And he's been fantastic. So.
And I think you need that too early on in your career too. I think you need the weapons to be able to grow, become confident, right? For things to start to slow down for you. I mean, if you look at Mahomes, Mahomes. I mean, I'm not comparing the two quarterbacks, but when Mahomes first came in the league, let's keep it 100. I mean, the guy was loaded with weapons. I didn't load it. He had Hill, he had Kelsey. I mean, I know I'm missing. I know I'm going to miss other guys that they had there in Kansas City. I mean, they were explosive, and he had a great coach. I mean, he's an offensive coach, a QB whisperer, and Andy Reid. I mean, you can't fall into a better situation. And then people in Buffalo act like Buffalo's roster's trash. Like, this is what makes me laugh. Like, Judge Allen's a freaking pimp. Okay, a pimp. But don't tell me that roster isn't really good. And if you tell me it isn't, I'm gonna say you're clueless.
I mean, what's the first thing they addressed? They went out and got Stephon Diggs. They went out and got Stephon Diggs. They've been keeping adding pieces and pieces and pieces. You know what I mean? So they got their guy, but then they said, "Hey, listen, we gotta go. We're not done here." You know what I mean? So first thing they did, they went out and got him a number one wide receiver. Boom, there you go. And then you got Gabriel Davis and guys that complement it. You know what I mean? So you can't, and then you got some good backs out of the backfield and then up front. So that's the interesting situation about the Eagles. And that's why you can get a guy later. Because most of these guys, I think the biggest key, especially for Jalen, not only is the weapons, it's the guys up front, right? He's protected, so they're able to do things, right? Most of the time when you see high draft picks, they're in the top 5, top 6, top 7. The rest of the team stinks. Most of them, or maybe not stink, but they're on the decline. That's how they got a top pick in the top 6 or 7, all right? And their offensive line is a part of why they're not very good, so they don't win up front. So a lot of those guys are running for their lives. One of the reasons why Andrew Luck retired, I mean? He's, very smart, Stanford education. He's doing great things, I'm sure, what I mean? But he wanted out, because the guy took an absolute beating for, early on, and Manning was 1-15, took a beating, all right? Not just a pick. Not just a beating, took not just the picks, took a beating. Joe Burrow took a beating, and still does. Yeah. So you can go down the list, what I mean? So it starts up front, and that's where you create that confidence for a young quarterback, to know that, hey, listen, I can, even if it's not an RPO, I'm pretty much gonna have a clean pocket to throw from, right? Can I make the throws? You know what I mean? Because my guys up front are going to protect me.
Yeah, and Patty came into a good situation there in Kansas City too. By that point as well.
Yeah, Alex Smith wrote him to 12 wins, I think, before he walked out.
It wasn't like he came into a situation where, like you're talking about, it's a one-win team. So I mean, that's
not matters. Yeah, they moved up to 12. Just to your point, you know what I mean. So they were even further down. They moved up to 12.
They weren't bad. They weren't bad. They needed some things. Now, I mean, think about what they lost after they signed them. I mean, when they signed them, they lost an offensive tackle. They started losing some pieces, Tyreek, etc. And that's the whole point I'm trying to make, is that at that point of his career, he's the alpha dog. So you can put things around him, and because of his skill level and his confidence off the charts, that you could put other things around him, and they're still going to be successful. But I love when people and I sort of said he has a bunch of number 2s that he's throwing the football to, but he arguably has the best tight end in NFL history. Okay, so I mean,
always open. Always, I never see anything like it, bro.
Always open.
Me and my dad look at it and we go, Oh, that's going to Kelsey. Like I don't understand how he's always open. It's incredible.
Always.
Incredible.
Nobody's that open all the time when you know that's who he wants to throw the football to. But guess what though? But guess what? That's not taking anything away from Patrick. No. Like that you need this ain't high school football. Okay, this ain't even college football. This is the best of the best. So if you think it don't take two to tango, you're a fucking idiot. That's what I say to everybody. If you don't think talent helps talent, you're fucking clueless. Because you think, I mean, Troy Aikman's a Hall of Famer. He do it all by himself? I'm just going to use Troy. I'll work my way up the ladder. You think Mike, Emmett, great offensive line? Keep going. Tom Brady might be the only guy who you could say, man, the guy just did it with no matter what you put around him, year after year after year after year after year. Okay, but through all those years,
but still had a great tight end, and Wes Welker pretty good,
and a great offensive line. That was what I was going to say. They had a great offensive line and a great defense. So if you just keep going through it, you're never going to find like Deshaun Watson got paid handsomely. You know why? Because he threw the ball for X amount of years to a guy that was arguably the best wide receiver in football through that time, and DeAndre Hopkins. So you can't do it by yourself. You don't think it's a coincidence that Josh Allen's big jump came when Stephon Diggs got there? You don't think it was a big coincidence that Stephon Diggs got better when he started playing with Josh Allen too? Come on, it's not just one guy. You think Reggie and Marvin didn't help Peyton and vice versa? I mean, I can just keep going through lists. Kurt Warner, the greatest show on turf. All right, should he get penalized because he got to play with Marshall and Isaac and Torrey? Should we penalize Kurt Warner for it? No, we praise him for it.
We did it in Arizona too. Yeah. Then he went to Arizona.
And had Anquan.
And he had both. Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, he was never starving. But
never. But guess what? Most guys aren't going to be starving though. Like because you need talent. You need talent to win. You can't do it. That's why we give so much. That's why I give so much credit to Donovan early on in his career, because there wasn't the offensive talent around him, but there was though. Right? We looked at it that there wasn't the skill position guys, but offensive line, running back, defense, all those pieces were there to help you win though.
Oh yeah.
Help you win,
especially when absolutely win enough, and that's where, like I said, that's where all his fans, always come to his defense. Like, hey, man, he was doing it with tomato cans, and I get it, you know what I mean? But then, then when you got the one guy that was the dude, you got the one diva, then we saw, hey, no, there's not enough ego in this room. This is my show, you know what I mean? So, all those years, we don't, nobody knows what was going on behind closed doors. He's saying, okay, I'm good with these guys. I'm good playing with these guys, you know what I mean? Because it's going to be my show, you know what I mean? And I don't know. That's just, and I don't know if that to be true, but I just know that when the one personality showed up in town that could have helped them for years and, get that trophy that was eluding them, he wanted no parts of that.
Nope, none at all. All right, players of the game. The offense side.
Yeah, that's probably AJ Brown again. You know what I mean? They didn't, it's either Hurts or AJ Brown, and there could be probably for me 3-headed monster. Give it to Smitty. I mean, like I said, huge catches in the first half. Then obviously that third down from the 3-yard line was huge. So he obviously was steady Eddie, and then he allowed AJ Brown to explode. In the second half, and of course Jalen. So it's a 3-headed monster on offense, for me.
Yeah, I'm right with those three guys for sure. And on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, there's a lot to give it to. Hassan.
Yeah.
We talked about Kayvon Wallace early on the show, who really had a good game in the box and tackling in the open field. Javon Hargrave was a problem. Josh Sweat was a problem. I mean, those three guys had 6 sacks between the three of them. So, when you look at that, they lead the National Football League in sacks. I mean, this defensive front is a flat-out problem. Took them a minute, though, right? Took them like 5-6 weeks. But when they really found their groove, I mean, man. And a lot of that today is nobody in football holds the ball as long as Justin Fields does. Like, he thinks he's still Ryan Day at Ohio State, right? I mean, he holds the football for 2 days. But that being said, I mean, Hassan Reddick is arguably the best pass rusher in football. I mean, he just does it every year in, year out. Not that other guys don't, but it's something to watch. Umberto.
That's Tampa all day, buddy. That's Tampa. Tampa 6 times a week. You take Tampa. I mean, maybe not. I can't speak for Tom, but I mean, like, you're not scared of Dallas, but I mean, you saw Tampa today, man. Come on, 17-0. And a good team doesn't even blink. And the Bengals said, hold my beer. And they just created every turn. They created about 5 turnovers in the third quarter alone. What I mean? So they don't scare you. He's got some weapons there. He's washed. He came back and we, people love to see him and, go out on your own terms. And, if Giselle was making him quit football or whatever, play the world's smallest violin. You got a ton of Super Bowls. You're arguably the greatest of all time to ever play it. Not quarterback, just player. I mean, that's what so nobody's feeling sorry for you, Tom. But it's been a horrible year. Horrible year. Horrible year. I feel like maybe you guys were in a hurry, either you or you guys were in a hurry to run Bruce out of town and let me know how that's working out. Because Todd Bowles' track record was never good everywhere he's been, except for as a coordinator. So,
I agree. I mean, you hate to say, like, I'd rather see Brady, right? You like, nobody's ever said that in the history of Brady. But we're there now. I mean, we're there.
Yeah.
And their defense is really good. I get that. Their defense is still very good, but Dallas would be your third time playing them. It's never easy. Now you know each other. You already know each other well, but now you even know each other better. I want Tampa for a reason, and I want it for the Jalen Hurts revenge game. Let's not forget what was said last year, which was true at the time, right? He's one read. He can't read a defense. That's what they said about him. And all Jalen did this offseason is say, watch me learn how to read a defense. So I think it's so fitting. I think sports, and listen, we've been around it enough and long enough, right? That sports are weird like this, right? Guy's going to win his first playoff game against a team that said, hey, this guy can't read a defense. Right? Wouldn't that be so fitting? Wouldn't it be so fitting for him to go put up 34 on Tampa, 34-14? Oh, read this. Can you guys read the score? Because I just put 34 on your asses. And personally, I think I'd rather see Tampa. Their offensive line isn't as good. The way we get after the quarterback, I think that's bad news for Tampa, especially because they got a statue. Dallas doesn't have a statue. Now, I'm not saying Dak's the greatest with his legs, but he's pretty good. Pretty good with his legs. And can make you pay. And he's strong. He's physical in the pocket. So I mean, I think I'm not scared of Dallas, and you weren't saying that either.
Yeah, he's a turnover machine. He's a turnover machine too.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Franchise that. Go get that.
I like that. You always forget about that element from last year, that the beatdown. So of course, from a little redemption game. So I hear you. But yeah, of the two, take all personal feelings away and take all last year and redemption away. You would rather see Tampa. All right. That's just you can see Dallas in the next round. That's all.
Yeah. I'm not going to run from Dallas, but I'd much rather have a layup line. You know what I mean? I'd much rather go through the layup line before I got to start shooting threes. Let me get loose a little bit. Let me get a playoff win before I see Dallas, because it's just about steps right now. Expectations, and I want to ask everybody out there, expectations have now changed. So is anything less than the Super Bowl? I mean, listen, you go into a season and you always say to yourself, anything less than winning a Super Bowl is a failed year. Not always the case, right? But now the team's 13-1. We all expected them to be good. I don't know if anybody thought 13-1 good, but we all expected them to be really good. And all our expectations early on were, hey, win a playoff game and show us growth, right? Are we past that now? Are we at the point now as a fan base where we say this is Super Bowl or bust? Is this
absolutely.
NFC title or bust? What's the bust on this team this year?
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a great question, but I think for for weeks now, maybe I don't know how many weeks you want to count it, You know, and I want to say myself, you're a monster fan, but you're looking at things objectively.
You've been saying we all night. Don't stop now.
No.
You're a monster fan too.
I'm saying from an outsider's point.
You're not. You're not. You said we.
From an outsider's standpoint, for a while now, for over a month, that the Eagles are the best team in football. So when that's thrown out there, and when that's reality, and that's when when you're 13-1, then there is no, as the Sixers would do, there is no second round exit, and then it's cute, and everybody's like, hey man, nice effort, here's a pat on the ass, like you said earlier, it doesn't take away with what you did in the regular season, right? But the season is still a failure if you don't win the Super Bowl, right? When you're the best team from pillar to pillar, they were the last unbeaten team. Right, they were, they're their last unbeaten team. They're no, who knows how they're going to finish, but they're 13-1 right now. Offensively, you got to be 1, 2, or 3 as the best offense in the league. Defense has got to be 1, 2, or 3 in the league. I mean, I don't care about stats. I don't care what nerds say. Like even if you are looking at stats, I think somebody alluded to earlier. If Fletch gets like 4 sacks in the next couple weeks, they might have 5 guys with double digits. You're hard pressed to find that in the history of the NFL if that's ever happened. I don't think it's ever happened. I would willing to say it's never happened. 5 guys with double digits, and he didn't get 4 guys with double digit sacks. And then the takeaways when you're talking about the guy probably that's been injured for the last 3 weeks is probably still going to lead the league in interceptions. I don't know if somebody went by him. You know what I mean? But
I know he's tied. I know he's tied with somebody. Yeah. I don't know who that.
But and he's missed 3 weeks, and he's going to miss a couple more weeks. All right, so they're just there's no reason to rush him back. You know what I mean? So. But you had a chance that had he stayed healthy, a guy leading the league in interceptions, 4 or 5 guys with double-digit sacks, a kicker that's steady Eddie, up until a wind little shankopotamus today off the post, a little stoink off the post. It's a complete football team. You know what I mean? I know everybody wants to run the special teams coordinator out of town, but come on, dude. Like it is what it is. Do you want the other team starting at the 50? No, of course not. But let's relax on that. You know what I mean? Like
I'm not worried. Yeah, I'm not worried about.
You're not worried about that. Yeah. Exactly.
I don't think that's going to lose me a playoff game. We're going to lose playoff games because our offense or defense didn't show up. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, if we're going home, it's probably because of that. Now, could it be because of a missed field goal? Sure, but I don't like put a missed field goal on a special teams coach, right? Like that's one guy kicking it. Now, special teams is almost irrelevant unless you like in today's day and age. Unless you have like somebody special back there, it's catch the ball, don't turn it over, don't get punts blocked, right? I mean, that's how I look at special teams. We can't turn the football over on special teams, and we did an A+ job today. That's how I look at it. Open field tackle, don't turn the football over on special teams. But somebody said Tampa. Maybe they could, Bill. Let's not talk that into existence. We have the Saints pick. We don't want to start doing this, right? Then it doesn't look like a fleece job if the Saints somehow win that division. I still believe that Tampa's going to win that division. I don't know how. They all stink, but you can't do the watch and see with the Saints. Come on, Bill. Like they're world beaters here either.
Well, the whole division, obviously 6 and 8. If it's 6 and 8's leading division, you're in a fucking horseshit division. So, I love I hear you, Bill. I don't disagree with you. I don't know if they're going to catch them. Tampa sticks. So
it's
Cardinals. You're not going to get an argument from us. I don't know if the Saints have enough to get there. Sure, maybe. I don't know. Anything's possible, but 6 and 8's leading the division. So ain't nobody scared of the Bucks. We know they're horseshit.
Cardinals, Panthers, Falcons. That's Tampa's last 3 games.
Yeah.
So Bill, I find it really hard, even though they stink too, for them not to hold on to that shitty division. Now let me see. Let me see which one this plays.
8 and 9, 9 and 8, 8 and 9. The 2 out of 3 get them there. 8 and 9 get them there.
Saints have a harder schedule. Saints have Browns in Cleveland. Okay. Now you're talking about
the Saints get to 5 today? 5?
Yeah, they got the 5. So they're essentially 1 game behind. So Saints got to go to Cleveland and play in Cleveland. They got to come to Philly, play in Philly, and then they got the Panthers at home. So I mean, they could be 1-2 in that stretch. So they got a harder schedule.
Yeah, exactly, Bill. I think if you'd have looked at that, I think you might have rethought that. But it still doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means that I think they lose in Cleveland, and if the Eagles either rest some guys or stub their toe in Dallas, they're going to throttle New Orleans at home with a chance at the 1 seed. You know what I mean? Or wherever it's at. You know
for sure. And then you got the Panthers, and that's a divisional game at the toss-up, right?
Exactly. So
Bill, you're not necessarily wrong. It's just the Saints just have a tougher road. I mean, both roads are tough because both teams stink. So I mean, there's no easy road when you stink. But that's that division this year. But how fitting it would be.
Punch us in for. Let's go. Getting them 4.5 up 11. Let's go, Downs.
With Saquon?
Yes, sir. 14-3.
Giddy up. No, this is just. It feels good. Like there's so many people out there that just have negative vibes in them constantly that they can't be happy. Like I was like I told you earlier on. I was happy with this win today, just because like you were sloppy, you turned it over, you didn't look good, but then you still never made me feel like you weren't going to win the game, and that just goes.
It's hard to win football games. I mean, we come on here every week and say that. You know what I mean? So to undermine wins in the NFL, it's really silly. You know what I mean? Like if you have concern, you want to clean things up. Absolutely. I mean, like, I think every team has that, you know what I mean? But I think Saturday showed you how hard it is, to win in the National Football League. You know what I mean? How'd you like to be Jeff Saturday? How'd you like to be Matty Ice? I mean, the guy, he's on the end of 2 of them, and not only did he lose the Super Bowl ring, and then he lost, and he became more of a horse's ass yesterday. Then he became a part of the largest Super Bowl comeback and then the largest regular season comeback.
I hate to say this about somebody's family member, but his wife definitely sleeps with other people. I mean, there's no way. There's no way he didn't.
He's very unfortunate.
There's no way he didn't catch a red-eye home. I caught the red-eye home, and next thing
I'm here for the gangbang. I'm here for the gangbang. I'm here for the gangbang. It's me, Maddie. Got home early.
No chance that hasn't happened. I'm sure his wife's spectacular. Or Maddie's from a Philly guy. I'm sorry, Matt.
Yeah.
I don't mean any disrespect. Just playing
We're
around.
connecting dots. We're just connecting dots, man. That's what we're here for, buddy. But we love you. Keep plugging.
Keep losing. Keep losing. But no, you talk about a guy like Jalen Hurts. He won 9 games last year. He won 13 this year. That's in 2 seasons. I mean, it's a lot of wins, man. That's a lot of wins. So, I mean, listen, it's a good time to be an Eagles fan. I know we'll be on tomorrow night for a little bit too, talking Eagles. So make sure you guys are circling your way back here as well. And then Christmas Eve, game will probably be over around 8:30. Maybe 8. So, I plan on coming on here around like 10 o'clock and talking to the people for an hour, hopefully after a win. Even though the game really doesn't mean much or anything, still like to get a win. I know somebody brought up, should Dallas Goedert play this week? I mean, if he's fully cleared, he should definitely play this week. I had no problem in the freezing temperatures coming off a shoulder injury to say, give it 1 more week. I know idiots like Sean Spielman will claim, like, what, are you saying he can't get hurt in Dallas? Like, no, I'm saying that the extra week will definitely help a shoulder injury. It's not going to hurt it. It's not going to hurt it. Goodness gracious. Like, you're playing on 6 degrees. You go down on that shoulder on cold Soldier Field, right? It's going to feel a little bit different than going down on it in Dallas. And if you think I'm wrong, go run outside right now, fall on your fucking shoulder, like make somebody spear you onto your shoulder, and then hop on a flight, go down south where it's a little warmer out, have somebody do the same thing to you, and then get back to me. Tell me which one felt better. Neither going to feel great, but the one in cold is going to feel a little worse.
Yeah.
I'm just here for the gangbang,
That's great.
And John, that's a great point, Johnny. The Eagles get everyone's best effort every week too, and that's totally true because when you're 12-1 or whatever you are every week, you're going to get teams more focused in on saying, you know what, let's go take them out, let's go beat them. And the fact that you keep winning them, it just goes to show you how good and how special this football team's been this year. Even when they don't play well, they still find themselves on the winning end. And we probably have the most humble leader in professional sports. And I have no problem saying that. The most humble leader in all professional sports right now. Right this moment, I don't know if there's a more humble franchise leader than Jalen Hurts in all sports. All sports. And that's a great question to have one day, right? Like talk about humble and stuff like that. Like I would love a list of who we think like the real true humble leaders are. I think Josh Allen's a real humble guy, just wants to win. I put him on my list too. Patty Mahomes just wants to win. And there's other guys. But the truly special ones like we're talking about are humble guys. Doesn't mean that none of them have an ego ever, but they're in the business for one thing. Winning. They want to win more than anything else. Right? And you see Josh Allen talk. He probably should have rubbed you a little wrong way last night because he told Dolphins fans when he sat down on the set afterwards, there's some Dolphins fans said, get out of here. Get out of here. Actually, I actually sort of liked it. He's like, get out of my stadium. But he's a humble cat, though. He is, though.
I know.
And Pat is, too. I mean, I've never heard Patrick Mahomes' leadership ever. Oh, my God. I never heard Patrick Mahomes' leadership ever questioned. Right?
That's definitely helmet to helmet, no?
Yeah, I would think so. But, I mean, you listen to this guy talking press conferences, and how you just not, like, so happy that this guy is the face of your franchise.
Yeah, like I said, just certain guys are, like you said, certain guys are winners, certain guys are losers. You know what I mean? And speaking of losers, on a night that the Redskins, activated Carson Wentz, they're getting doored. I mean, I know he's not playing, but it's just the guy's presence. Like certain guys have a presence about him. You know what I mean? Just the way he's holding the clipboard. You know what I mean? I see the way you're holding the clipboard, Carson. You're a loser. I see it.
We can't even move the ball offensively because you dressed tonight.
Yep, absolutely. And by the way, that play, and not comparing the two because I don't want anybody to send us any emails. That play by Thibodeau had LT characteristics of it. Reminded me of the early, in the 80s, early 90s LT right there. Strip sack, get it yourself, and go score.
Well, this is the team you worry about for the next. This team right here is the team I worry about for the next 4 years. And people are gonna say, not Dallas, Tom? No. This team drafted extremely well this year, the New York Giants. I mean, Evan Neal and Thibodeau, great picks.
Yeah, if they find himself a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, that's just. Yeah. Well, again, let's talk about that real quick before we get out of here.
He's making
a young guy who they never put pieces around.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really never gave him the tools to grow either. They tried to.
Well, I was just gonna say, bro, jinx, and more jinx. That guy was a special talent in Detroit, and the lights came on in New York, and he's horseshit. You know what I mean?
Well, we thought he was.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe Matty's that good. Yeah. Maybe Matty was just that good. But I mean, you still got to get open, right? Still got to catch it. I mean, I thought it was a good signing for them. I didn't think he was going to be that. But then they draft Kadarius Toney, right? Got to trade him, right? So I mean, if you look at what they've tried to do offensively, they can't get it done. Now, Andre Thomas, Evan Neal, really good picks up front, and obviously tips. And I thought Xavier McKinney. I loved Xavier McKinney coming out of Alabama. I thought he was special. I would have loved to have him. Wasn't happy when the Giants got him. I mean, the Giants are, even though they're a rival and I hate the Giants, they're a likable group in a way of just their toughness and that, credit to them. They've drafted better. Like, I got to give credit where it's due. They definitely have drafted well,
especially as a division opponent. As an Eagle fan, I think Ingram got out the door just in time because I think Dable knows how to use him. I think he's being used well in Jacksonville. I don't know if he was used well here. I know he's injured and all that stuff, and he had opportunities here. It wasn't like they were stifling him in New York, but maybe they weren't using him right. I don't know.
Oh, it's true, though. It's true. I mean,
Right.
Evans always had the talent, right? I mean,
Yep,
Evan Ingram's never been a talent thing. And sometimes you got to go with a real quarterback. You know, at this time, a way better offensive minded guy than what was in New York, you know, prior to Dable. So, I mean, you know, I mean, and credit to the Jacksonville Jaguars for a second, too. I mean, you might have overspent and done some things where the naked eye, we sit here and we say to ourselves, what are you spending? How much you give Christian Kirk? Right? How much did you give some of these guys? But they said, dude, we got to go get our guy help. Right? We got to make his life easier in year 2. Right? And they did. They did. Look, I mean, look at Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Zay Jones, Evan Ingram. I mean, that's 4 really good weapons. I mean, Marvin Jones catches everything thrown on him. So they really did they overspend on Christian Kirk? The whole league's overspending on stuff. But you tell me that's not worth it? I mean, the Tennessee Titans better be careful too, because Jacksonville's coming. They're coming. They've been playing extremely good football, typical Doug Peterson type team, right? Let's look at Doug's MO. Doug's MO is he's always been a great second half coach, right? The Eagles always got hot at the second half of the year for whatever reason. All right. And I'm not saying Doug's perfect or a genius, but he did bring us our only Super Bowl win. So that being said, his teams will always get better as the year goes on. I'm telling you, the Jacksonville Jaguars next year will be a 12-win football team. They will, because of the leaps that their quarterback is taking. Not because of Doug, that helps it, right? Because now you're on year 2 of the West Coast offense. Right now, look where he's at now. He's making strides because he's learning the offense more now, right, than he was in week 1 or week 2.
Absolutely, full circle to what we talked about earlier. There's another guy that was running for his life his first year. You know what I mean? So they got some stability. You know, they got Doug, and then they got some stability up front, and allowed him to have a little bit extra time to make, you know, to rip some of those throws. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Wayne, what up, Wayne? So, what kind of shit show do we see from Dallas tonight, tomorrow after their loss? I think they're done. They'll be quiet down there. I agree with you, Billy. You know, as soon as Hurts gets Goddard back, I mean, the offense becomes even more lethal. And I don't know how you get much more lethal than they already are. Don, I don't disagree. I mean, the Jets have drafted well. A lot of teams have. You know, a lot of teams have drafted well. You know, I think
Don, but well. I'm sorry, Don. I like where your head's at. You know, especially with Sauce Gardner, but not when you miss with Zach Wilson. He's horse shit. I mean, you know, and they got plenty of pieces around them. And I'll be the first guy on paper to tell you, first guy that, you know, he's horseshit. I didn't like the pick. I didn't like him. I just didn't like him. Period. You know, he did nothing for me. You know, I didn't think Tom was in agreement. You know what I mean? So I think that hurts your draft class when you go there, because now you got to start over. Mike White's not the answer. All right, Joe Camel's on his way out. He's just a guy. He's just this guy that, you know, we'll take some snaps when you need them. But, you know what I mean? Come on. You know, so they're back to the drawing board, and their defense is nasty. So it's a shame. You know, they win that game today. You know, with a good quarterback.
Oh yeah, and like I said, I agree with you. Now, I did think he played better today. Better. I think some of the humbleness probably helped him play a little bit better, but he's not anything. I mean, can that change? Sure, anything's possible. You know, I wasn't like. That whole draft class, essentially, which was, I mean, who was that? Him, Lawrence, Fields, right? Was it all those guys? Am I in the right draft class?
Yeah, Lawrence 1. He was 2, right? I think. Yeah,
but outside of Lawrence, none of those guys really were like, dude, this guy's a home run. I mean, Fields wasn't a home run. Like none of the right. I mean, all those other guys had question marks. Fields, Lance. Zach Wilson. I mean, come on. You know, they all have question marks. To be honest with you, the best spot Zach Wilson could have went was to the Niners. If you want to be real, that would have been the best spot for him to land. Because he's with an offensive guy too. I mean, there is something to be said for some of these guys that do get drafted by defensive-minded coordinators that don't have that offensive guru like they had in Buffalo. Like, right, in Buffalo, you have Dable. Right? McDermott's the defensive coordinator, but you have Dable. You have an offensive-minded guy to help your quarterback, right? I do think there's something to be said about, you know, how many defensive-minded coaches draft a quarterback early and that quarterback has a lot of success. I would love to hear those numbers.
Well, right? Yeah, and like you said, Saleh just got there, but had he been there in 2021, he he loved to have Micah at 2 in that draft.
Right? You know, I mean, so
Yeah.
But that was the right draft. Like I'm thinking about last year's draft.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 2021. Yeah.
Okay. So make sure I don't go crazy.
Trevor, Zach, and Lance went top 3.
And then Fields went.
Pitts. Well, Fields went 11.
11. Yeah. That's what I mean. Like they all went top.
Pitts, Chase, Waddle, Penny Sewell. Don's guy took Sewell.
Well, a great pick.
J.C. Horn, Patrick Surtain, and then the Eagles got
Horn.
DeVonta at 10. You know what I mean?
I mean, listen, Horn, Surtain, obviously Micah. Sewell. Is that Jamar Chase in that draft too, right?
Jamar Chase 5th to the Bengals, yep.
Wow. If you think about it, you shouldn't outside of Lawrence, no quarterback should have went. Outside of Lawrence, those quarterbacks should have went late in the first round. But that's what happens. This is why, to me, organizations get out of their way.
And you're right. Mac Jones, he went 15.
who, in my opinion, is better than. He's not better than much, but he's better than Lance has shown, and he's better than Zach Wilson. That's not saying a lot, but he's definitely better than those two. But that's what I'm saying. Like if you draft best player on the board there, right? The New York Jets, who had number 2, right? They have 2 or 3?
Jets were 2.
2. So you draft Jamar Chase there. You're a little different. I don't care who you got throwing the football. You're a little different. So, they've done a good job of drafting wide receivers now. They have in terms of getting wide receivers. But if you draft, like you said, Parsons,
Waddle.
if you draft Waddle, if you draft Surtain, if you draft Horn, any of those guys, you're better. Because now you got Horn. Imagine if you got Surtain and Sauce.
And DeVonta was the Heisman Trophy winner. You know what I mean? So,
that's my son.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of myself. I didn't want to bring him up. He's mine. He's ours. There's nobody else. But he's special too. He's. But again, they don't have a quarterback. Or Jamar's more of like. I can't even say that because DeVonta had a really good rookie year, all things considered. So it's not like if he has Barrow. The way Barrow was throwing the ball to him, he probably has a monster year too. But Jamar's a freak. I just thought he was a go route pony, but he's a little bit more than that.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a little bit more than that. That's on time. I didn't like to sit out. You know what I mean? When guys sit out, it irks me. So I'm gonna when I look at you deeper, I'm gonna have problems with you. I'm gonna find things. There'll be rocks lifted when you sit out. You know what I mean?
Understood.
You sit out, I'm gonna lift. I just lifted 5 rocks. So, all right, this was fun. We don't got to keep spinning the wheels. Maybe Sweets will be back with us tomorrow night, but I'll be back on. Not sure exactly who's going to be on with us. We'll do some more Eagles talk. Obviously, preview the game coming up Saturday a little bit more because that's a big one. And then Wednesday we'll have another preview for you. So, a lot. And then we got shows every night here on A2D. You guys know this already. So if you don't like what you heard right now, I don't blame you. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, stay with us for a while because you will find somebody you like. I promise you that.
And just want to trash the Bills Mafia on our way out the door. You know what I mean? Just because of the hypocrisy. You know what I mean? Like everybody thinks it's cute with the tables and the no shirts and here's my nipples and we're so cool and can it make it colder? It's fucking childish. It's childish. You know what I mean? Like do your thing. You got. Then you want to throw snowballs and ice balls and then like Josh Allen's got to get on and make an announcement. It's fucking horseshit. All right. And if that was in Philly, all right, it would have been front cover of the. It would have been on CNN. It would have been the first story on ESPN. And it would have been like. Philadelphia, don't go there. You know what I mean? You'll get shot by a snowball. You know what I mean? And you very well might be. That very well could happen. But it's just the hypocrisy is a fucking joke. You know what I mean? It's whatever narrative they want to spin, and it's disgusting, and it's a joke. It was a joke last night. Last night was a joke.
My nipples got me. Here's my nipples. It's true though. You took it. I was going to say the same thing, and I love that you said it. And it didn't come from an Eagles fan, right? Because then it looks like, oh, you guys are so worried about everybody else. No, I'm just going to sit here and say that you made it all cute on the broadcast. like it's okay to throw snowballs at opposing players. Like, get a fucking clue. Because they ain't snowballs, honey. That's an ice ball now. That's an ice ball. It ain't snow once it sits for a minute, right? It's snow when you get the fresh coat. Fresh coat, you throw a snowball at somebody, cool, hits you in the face. You throw an ice ball at my face, we're fighting, right? You get one of the sitting out there. I mean, that snow was sitting there from the morning. Are you kidding me? That ain't snowball anymore. Buy a clue, because they were throwing snowballs before it was snowing. Just to riddle everybody that. The snowballs were coming before it was snowing again. Okay? Everybody watched the second half. Cool. First half, it stopped snowing. It didn't snow since the morning. So buy a clue that's not cute, that's not cool, and it's not okay. These are not computer guys out here. This isn't computer players, right? You can literally, you throw a perfect shot and a bullseye on somebody's eye, right? Who knows what happens? And I'm not like, scared to walk around. Like, I'm not scared to walk around, because, of course, anything can happen any day. But these guys, you got to respect the players. That's not okay. And that means a Ron Artest waiting to happen, right? Get me in the wrong spot with a snowball, and I'm 6'4", 245. I'm coming, and I'm a chisel. I'm coming up in there. I'm gonna come chisel you. So, but you're right. Like, we talk about snowballs off a terrible Santa Claus, by the way. I mean, a fucking joke. It's like the uncle who's like 70 who freaking chain smokes. He's like a $1.20. He's like a $1.20 soaking wet.
Fucking Burt Young and Rocky. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, everybody wants to pelt him. Come on, fucking guy. Fucking made Rocky lose all his money. Come on.
None of us were really here. None of us were here for it. I wasn't even born yet. Like, we're talking about something like before I was born. I mean, 50 years ago, 45 years ago. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about?
Sweeps was probably in 5th grade.
Maybe you were just a little baby. You're just a little baby right then and there, right? You had no idea. You didn't pelt nobody. So why do we get these stigmas on us? When I try to tell people all the time, like, we are no different than everything in the Northeast corridor. And if you think we are, you're an idiot. The only thing I'll say we are is we're a little bit more intelligent than some of the stuff that goes on, in other cities. I think we're smarter than we give credit for. Are we perfect? No, as a fan base. No, absolutely not. But there's jackasses in every fan base. There's morons in every fan base. There's guys who have no feel for the sport in every fan base. So I just find that it's unfair. It's stupid. Like, this is the Northeast. But again, you said, if it happens in Philly, that thing's I'm getting alerts on my phone. Like we just assaulted the president of the United States. You know what I mean? You would have thought that the Secret Service had to take me out, right? Because that's what it would have been made out to be. But you can go ahead and plunk, Xavier Howard or what's my big man, Christian Wilkins. You can go plunk those guys. That's okay though. Get the frig out of here. And guess what, Dolphins? As a Dolphin fan, I know you're so close. You're right there. They're right there. To taking, I was actually semi-impressed, because you're talking about a guy, can he throw the ball in the elements a little bit? And I thought he did an okay job given the elements. Not perfect, but an okay job. Defense has to get a stop once in a while.
Yeah. Got
to get some stops, man. That defense is too good. I mean, they got money over there, too. You got to get some stops. But, listen, playing up there is not fucking easy. That guy's a problem. When that guy wants to score, he's scoring. That's the crazy thing about Buffalo. Whenever Buffalo and Kansas City want to score, like they need a score, they're getting a score.
Yeah. Feels
truly amazing. You need one right here.
Feels like that. Yeah, it feels like it.
Need one. It's crazy. My crumb this week. I'm not gonna mention names. I'm not a jerk off, but I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing. Right. I'm doing lessons, but I look over. And there's a 10-year-old, and he's throwing off a mound, doing a lesson with a great instructor, okay? And I say, is that a pocket? Is that got a pocket radar behind the screen? Is that a pocket? I can't be a pocket radar. I thought it may have been a phone. So afterwards, I went up to the guy who was the instructor. I said, did he have a pocket radar? And he said, yeah. And I said, wow, okay. Jeez, what are we doing? Like, what are we tracking? What are we tracking at 10? The mound gets further away. It's going to get further away. When he's 11, further. 13, further. Then it'll never change again, but it's going to get further. What are we tracking? Like a 13-year-old doesn't need to get a gun out unless you feel like, is that guy hit 90? Did that guy hit 90? Let me find out if that guy hit 90 or 85 or something big, like a big number where you want to find out. Sure. Cool story. Doesn't need to come out. Can you throw strikes? How was your bullpen? Did you throw enough strikes in it? Or I feel good. Throw 58. Little Jimmy throwing 58. You guys hear this at Christmas? Look. You guys see it? It's 58. 2 weeks ago, we was 55. Look at the progression. So my calculations say by the time he's 17, he's 99. He's 99 at 17 because of my calculation.
D1.
Parents, be better. That's all my rant is. Be better. Like I love putting. Listen, I'm gonna put pressure on my guy all the time.
I'll take it even further. Sit in the car. Just get away from him. You know what I mean? Leave him alone. You know what I mean? So when it's time to get in the car and you ask him how he did, and you want to talk about things, that's fine. You know what I mean? But sitting there and being a helicopter parent, you know, like he's just gonna look at you. Right? I've been doing this a long time. Tom's been doing it for a little bit too. You know what I mean? It's like, it's, you know, and I tell people all the time, it's after every swing, after every pitch, if you're hovering there, it's either looking for approval or they're worried about letting you down. It's either disappointment or approval. All right. That's the two things. All right. So then it can't get any better.
I have some that come back when they're older. But it's all depending. Like I'll tell a guy, like the few I do have come back, they don't peekaboo. Like these kids are focused, so it's okay. Stay back here because you enjoy watching them. So like that's a different style, right? But I do have some that know it. I have guys that will come in and say they're the first one. They'll stay away though, but they'll be in the building, right? And the guys looking over. So I had one that say, "Yo, you ain't gonna see me anymore after this. I saw him peek over me. I'm out." And I'm like, "Wow, I love that you feel that," because I'm like, it's hard to feel that. Like until you're in the business, it's hard to feel that. Like I know you want to watch them, but if you're gonna trust me in it. Trust me in it because every swing that he has bad, I don't need him saying, "Oh shit, did he see that?" No, we got to get focused on getting the next one right. Right. And if he has a great one, I don't need him looking over thinking he's going to get, he's getting a McFlurry on the way home. So
it's December. You ain't get nothing. You can have a cookie at home. I mean, it don't matter. It's for like you said, it's for individual confidence and the ability to be able to repeat that swing. Not because, like you said, looking for a snow cone and a hot dog. I want to be able to repeat that swing. I don't what do I need? What do I need you to,
when you watch your kid, when you watch your kid, when you really watch them, never saying you can never watch them, but when you really watch them, game days. That's when you go watch them at a certain age.
Yeah, no, absolutely, brother. Or when he's by himself. You know what I mean? Like take a peekaboo in the garage. You got something set up in the garage. You got something set up in the basement. Take a peekaboo. You know what I mean?
You guys work together.
You got your nanny cam. Take a peekaboo on your nanny cam. All right, and see if he's working. See if he's working in the dark. All right, not just when you make him go.
Like Cass is going to come to you. It's already predetermined, right? Like even if you're out of the game, like he's coming to you. No questions asked because I know how this game works. Like he'll listen to me to a point. There'll be a point of the shutoff valve, right? But when I send him doesn't mean we aren't going to work on our own. But I know that work with you is one-on-one, and Tom's nowhere to be found. You're like, where's he go? Where is he even here? Because you won't even see me walk in. Then that's the difference. You got to be able to let that. All the ones I've seen, and I've only been doing for about going on a decade. You've been doing a lot longer. But every one that I've seen the most success with has been the ones where there ain't nobody even around.
Yeah.
And that's not all the end all be all, but it's a big part, especially younger. You know what I mean? Especially younger. So there's our Crumbs.
Oh, yeah, 100, absolutely, 100.
Relax, Don. I love baseball, Don. So my Crumbs are always about baseball. You always got to get me wound up on the way out. So you want me to stay longer? I was only going to do a half hour.
Don, we love you, buddy. Stay excited, buddy. I mean, I'm a sneaky Lions fan. You understand? I mean, the fighting Dan Campbell's. All right, Dan Campbell knocked on my door right now. I invite him in. All right, come on in, fucking Dan. Get the hell in here. Let's fucking have some Fireball and Miller Lite. Let's go. Stay a while.
Wayne.
What do you need? Need something with me?
Wayne said, "What's he gunning you?" Everybody. Could be.
I'd be lucky to get 58 right now.
Yeah.
I got a tear.
If I had 58, I'm posting about that.
I was just gonna say, I'd be like this.
Don, we love you too, and another big win. And they won me money today, so it's always impressive. I'm always even.
Crush the Lions today. +1.5. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. And Don, you did ask about a quarterback next year. It depends if one falls in your lap. Do I think it would be good to draft one in the first or second round, maybe that can maybe learn and play behind Goff for a year and let things like slow down a little bit? I think that would be smart too. But I think Jared Goff's better than people think he is.
Yeah,
I do. I think he's very good. Look, listen, he's better than Carson Wentz is career-wise. Like he was, when you look back at it now, when it's like like at this point of their careers, you can literally say that dude was a better pick at the number 1 pick than Carson was. That would have been. I mean, not saying more talented, just how their careers, their numbers, all that shit. He's just had a better career. I mean, he's going to a Super Bowl and he played in it. They didn't win it. Looked like shit, but he went to one. Ain't easy to go one either. And I think like we Sleep said earlier on, when you get knocked down a little bit, and you taking off your high horse, per se, because that was a team that drafted you, and you get dealt, it's also a wake-up call too.
Yeah, and exactly. Until the culture gets changed, that's probably like getting exiled to getting sent to Detroit is initially. Sorry, Don, hear me out, buddy, because I'm with you. I'm a big Lions fan. I'm big, you know what I mean. But when you get shipped to Detroit, or that was the old getting shipped to Cleveland. And like Belichick used to ship guys to Cleveland. Hey, here you go. You running your mouth in film studies. What do you got? You got something to say? Yeah. Jamie Collins, see you later. Ship you to Cleveland. So I mean, getting shipped to Detroit was obviously 3 pegs down for Goff, and he wasn't a superstar. Just the situation he was in. You know what I mean? So, I think he does enough. I mean, there's plenty of bad quarterbacks, so I'm not crowning him, but I think he does enough. And you see that the last 7 weeks. You know what I mean? You see that the last 7 weeks. And if they weren't 1-6, they'd be really in this mix if they didn't start 1-6.
Well, how many one-score games did they lose? Or one possession games? Sorry, not one score. Like one possession games did they lose? So I
hear you, Wayne. It's all right, buddy. I'm in there with you, buddy.
I like that they have a million football guys on their staff. That matters to me. Guys who've been through the war. Stop putting these guys in the booth. You know what I mean? Put these guys back on what they know, what they've known their whole life, which is football, right? Yeah. So I mean, I think it's a no-brainer to more former players at some point, especially at the NFL, and especially the guys will know. The guys know Dre Bly. Like you never follow the game if you didn't know Dre Bly. So I'm not saying Dre Bly's like the best corner ever, but it brings some. Isn't there a corner? Isn't he one of their coaches? Who's the other?
I don't know. Aaron Glenn's fantastic. He's a defensive.
Might be Aaron. Maybe it's Aaron.
Aaron Glenn. They've gotten better. I mean, Aaron Glenn and him and Deuce are tight, and
Deuce,
they're all Campbell guys and Honey Buns. He's got a lot of Eagle guys there. You know what I mean? Like Hank Fraley's the offensive line guy.
Is Hank Fraley the offensive line?
Yeah. Honey Buns is the offensive line coach, buddy. Come on, Frank Haley, Hank Fraley. Yeah, they're loaded, buddy.
Wow,
they're loaded with former guys. To your point, you know what I mean?
I love it. Well, it's paying off for him. Don Sweets was supposed to go shopping. I mean, we're still talking. This is on me. You know what I mean? I might have to come down. I'm gonna say, bring your card down. I got Amazon taking care for you. You know what I mean? This is on me. You know what I mean? Let me help you out. Let me put 50 on my side. Let me get you started here.
Here's an envelope. We're Italian. Here's an envelope. He said a few things. Here's an envelope. That's great.
Said an hour and 33 minutes worth of things. There you go. No, I love it. I was going to do it myself tonight, boys. I was going to come on and do a half hour by myself, and I'm glad I didn't have to. But I was going to do it because I know how Sundays are after games. People want to talk about it, even if it is the Bears. So it's great to be 13-1. It is Christmas week. It's Dallas week. everybody, I'll talk to you before, but enjoy the holidays with your family. Obviously Hanukkah. I think Hanukkah starts tonight, right? Did Hanukkah start tonight? I don't mean to be disrespectful, like if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's right around the corner if it hasn't already started. So happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa.
Light them up.
So light them up. We love you all. We appreciate everybody for watching. I brought up Baggio's bread at the beginning of the show. I won't talk about them again. They're located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. Home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, meatballs, desserts, everything. Mention A2D. You get 10% off your in-store purchase. They're the best. Go check them out. Also, easy to do from your phone. Go download FanUp right on the Apple Store. Use promo code A2D for $50 to sign up. FanUp is the best way to enjoy fantasy sports, daily NFL, NBA contests, and more. And you can challenge anybody you want, obviously in a new home. And I thank my buddy Alan Foy of eXp Realty for it. Him and Mike McKenty at Medford Mortgage. I mean, they made this process as smooth as it could be. And moving sucks. It's hard. It's a pain in the ass. All right. But these guys were spectacular. You know what I mean? Like, so when you pick up the phone, somebody answers. I love it. I love it because we can get things done. We're going to get things done. I'm a big communicator.
Oh, we live in a texting world. So love where you're going with that, buddy. Love that promo right there out of you because we live in a texting world. Like how many times you call somebody and then they text you 2 seconds later. What's going on here? What do you mean? How come you didn't pick up? What do you mean?
Where was your phone at?
What's going on? So
Alan, dive across the couch.
Alan Ford's a cat that won't do that. He's going to pick up the phone. There you go. Look at me. Like a wrestling promo. Went right to it for you.
Guys at basketball practice, like, hey, I'm at basketball practice. You know what I mean? Like, as a basketball practice, it's hard to answer at practice. I know how that goes. And he's like, I'll call you back right when I'm done. Oh, my bad. My bad. You didn't have to answer. But listen, they did a lot of behind the scenes work. They're fantastic. So if you're looking to buy or even just sell, or you're looking to have a change in your career or brokerage, any of those things, contact Alan Foy, eXp Realty, 302-682-8820. He's the best in the business at what he does. And obviously, we were brought to you by our doc, Make Him Yours, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Find him on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Ryan Swoop says, where am I away at? I'm not away anywhere. I'm right here. What are you talking about? You don't know me? You don't know me? You know me, right? No, I'm right here. Am I not here? Am I here? I feel like I'm here. Okay, Hanukkah did start today. 1-1. I'm 1-1. Let's go. We're out of here. And our doc, he takes most major insurances. So tell Dr. Paul Vidal, the boys at A2D sent you. And if both these teams could lose tonight, that would be great. We're out of here.